The elephant in the room, which is of course something really hilarious that happened over the last couple of days. You see, Xbox has had a secret like trick up their sleeve, something special that they didn't want to reveal to anybody. They kept it locked down. It was going to be a surprise, a shadow drop as it's known. They wanted to just reveal this out of nowhere. The game releases on Game Pass within like an hour of you finding out about it, and you can just play it. Really surprising, crazy cool. Similar to what they did with Hi-Fi Rush, right? Problem is, we've known about it for years because of the FTC disclosures. People said that they were leaks. They weren't technically leaks. They were documents they had to disclose as part of the FTC hearings during the Activision Blizzard and Microsoft acquisition stuff, court hearings and everything with regulators. So we've known about it for a while, that they were working on the Oblivion remaster remake. And we also know about another one, the Fallout 3 remake, remaster, blah, 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 which we'll talk about more in a separate segment later. But this we've known about for a while, but we hadn't had any super clear confirmation. However, there were leaks, there were rumors that it was going to shadow drop this month, that it was locked and loaded, it was going to happen. But they were all just rumors and leaks. All rumors until a very resourceful person on, I believe, Reset Era found it. You remember last week, we actually went to the Virtuos Games website on stream. We actually pulled up their website on stream and looked at it. Well, it's on this website that somebody went into the data. That's the wrong button. I forgot I'm not on Chrome. But they went and inspected the elements, right? They went in here, they looked at the code, they broke it down, they tracked down individual strings of data, they went through back doors, front doors, side doors, screen doors. I feel like Dr. Seuss. And they found something. You see, they had built out the landing page for the for this Oblivion project, but it was not published yet. The problem is, images on their WordPress, whatever site, are stored in a separate place. And if you know what you're doing, you can find where that place is, because lots of the other photos on the website are stored there. And you can break those down and you can find those images and pull them out. You know, it's like putting a bunch of the stuff for your secret project into a really secure vault and locking it. But you forgot that a bunch of the photos you also had uploaded to Dropbox, which everybody like has access to, or maybe like Image Bin or something like that. They just left this massive hole. And apparently it was out there for a while. Like, people were checking on this through various means. And it looks like it had been up there for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, but only just found it. They only just found it. So what did they find? Well, they found some promotional images that are going to be used to sell this. And I mean, they're side-by-side images showing the improvements that they have made. Yeah, it's more like they left it unlocked with the door open. Yeah, kind of, yeah. Because like the actual web page is still locked down. Actually, after this happened, they nuked the entire site. So the entire website was shut down. You tried to go to it, it would just spit back a 404, 403, whatever error. So they shut it all down in reaction to this, trying to figure out what happened. Now the website's obviously back up, but the web page itself did not get leaked. It was the images that were going to be used on that web page. Now, some people have been like, oh, well, this is clearly intentional. Here's my perspective. I think if you're going to try for months and months, years even, to keep something secret, so that you can shadow drop it as a big surprise to everybody. If you're going to intentionally leak it yourself, you're going to do it in a way that doesn't make you look stupid. Okay? I typically, I think with intentional leaks of stuff, it's just like, oh, an insider provided these images of something from the marketing team. But this is not that. Never underestimate Bethesda. That's the thing. This is Virtuos. This was not BGS or anything. or even Bethesda Softworks, it seems like this is a totally separate project from Virtuos. And they're a very capable team. I mean, they've worked on most of the AAA games that you probably have loved in the last 10 years. They are a massive developer out of Singapore, I believe, with like 4,000 employees or something like that. And they just do support work on a ton of different stuff. They're huge, and you probably have never heard of them. But they've rebuilt seemingly all of Oblivion in Unreal Engine. And what's really fascinating about it is that they are still branding this as a remaster. How do we know they're branding it that way? Well, because we also got the images of the promotional materials, and on those promotional materials, you can see that it's remastered. So they're not calling this a remake, which I think is interesting. I think what it is that when you go and you call something a remake, that raises the bar. People have higher expectations. But what I'm saying is I think this looks like a remake. It really does appear to be a remake because it seems they rebuilt most of it. Those assets from 2006, you can't just copy and paste those into the Unreal Engine editor and expect them to look good. Like, they've had to rebuild most of this. There's also things from job listings like a year or two ago where one of the people that worked on this said that they had overhauled things like stamina. They had rebuilt things like basics of combat. They had added a shielding button and mechanics similar to what Dark Souls games and Soulsborne games have. They'd done a good amount of work on it. So I'm honestly surprised they're not just calling it a remake, because it seems like it probably could earn that title. But here's where it probably is. Here's the corporate answer for it. My guess is BGS didn't want somebody else remaking it. They were okay if somebody else remastered it, but they didn't like the idea of somebody else remaking it. If they're going to remake it, it should be the same team. I can understand that feeling, that sentiment. Hey, we made it, we should remake it. You can remaster it, you can tweak it, but we're not taking the heat if people don't like some of the changes you made. It's not us. You're just remastering it. I think that's probably what it is. Now, one of the other things that's funny about this is that if we enhance on a couple of these, what do you see? It's hard to tell, but what does that look like to you? What does that look like to you? What does that look like to you? Horse armor, baby. Now, if you don't know about the horse armor meme, okay, horse armor was a pivotal moment in the games industry, okay? It's a huge moment, okay? It really changed gaming forever. Oh, dude, look at this. Look at this. 16 years ago, April 18th, 2008, video of horse armor in the game. This guy's flexing hard. Looking at this, at the state of this industry in 2024, whoever at Bethesda decided to charge money for horse armor in Oblivion must be feeling like Oppenheimer right now, the beginning of the end. Yeah, basically what happened is this marked the beginning of a new trend, okay? It basically was a moment where they decided to charge for something that was previously only ever free. And it changed the industry forever because it opened the floodgate for all of this. As you can see here, this little article from Polygon in 2022. Yeah, as a market test, the studio went simple. You can't say the horse armor pack wasn't exactly what it said on the tin. A few sets of armor, which increased your steed's health alongside a simple quest. The reaction was immediate. Under a Major Nelson blog, with the extremely 2006 title of Pimp Your Oblivion Ride, that's very 2006. Comments ran mostly negative, though most weren't against the DLC. The small offering and relative expense were the largest complaints. Some lamented that they couldn't even purchase the pack in their countries. Others questioned the point of purchasing cosmetics in a single-player game. One jeered that the horses were a woman's hobby. What does that even mean? A quality that might have contributed to the excess level of outrage. There were defenders, those who compared it to selling ringtones or cell phone wallpapers. Shout out MKBHD. Those who compared it to ringtones, extraneous customizations that didn't have any real effect on the core experience. The market bears what the market will, and if people didn't buy it, corporations would stop selling it. But guess what? They bought it. It was an ill omen priced at $2 on PC or 200 Xbox Live points on console. And guess what? People bought it. A lot of people bought it. And it created this whole new thing that we still see today with these things. Just earlier in the stream, we were looking at that post from Jor about Ubisoft's kind of lazy mounts in Shadows that have horse sound effects. Even though it's a wolf. Like what? So all of this started with horse armor in Oblivion, which is hilarious.
Edgar Vasquez donated $10 through Super Chat. I'm not an expert, but I read that Creation Engine and Unreal Engine 5 were merged using a compatibility suite that came out during the pandemic, but the public was too busy to notice at the time.
Interesting. Thank you for the 10. Has anyone else heard that? I don't actually know. I feel like if any time you hear something that might have happened in the pandemic, I'm like, oh, well, maybe. I asked Grok, no evidence compatibility used distinct game engines with different architectures. No official tool or suite has been documented to facilitate direct asset merging between them. Actor merging, hardware, software. This is the one thing I really like about Grok is that it actually gives you all the web pages it read through. I do think it's interesting that they chose to go with Unreal Engine because I do think it's allowed them to move quickly and to get a lot of stuff done. But as you can see from Michael, the supposed releasing it by the end of the month, blocking inspired by Souls-like games, sneak icons now highlighted, stamina's been changed, HUD has been changed. This was one thing. They said that the HUD had been changed to make it more readable and more approachable for younger audiences, which I don't know what age has to do with it. You know, like it's saying that it's for like ager, like it could have been a translation issue, to be fair. Because like I said, I'm pretty sure they're based in Singapore. And I think this dev where this info came from was also based in Singapore. So it could be a language translation issue. But either way, even if you're like for modern audiences, making the UI more readable, maybe that's what they're trying to say. But I don't know, it just kind of hit the ear weird. Hit reactions have been added. Archery's been overhauled. Also, some of the stealth stuff allegedly has been overhauled. But you can see these are the images that they have shared. And this does look like a full-blown remake of the game. I mean, this is not like just a remaster. When I heard remaster, I was thinking, oh, they're gonna like uncap the frame rate. They're gonna unlock it to go to 4K. Basically what they did with like their attempt at updating Skyrim initially, where they just kind of turned a bunch of dials or took the barriers off and it still was buggy, still glitchy. But this, I mean, apparently is gonna be just a total rebuild. But this is also one thing I find really funny, okay? This is what I predicted months ago. You guys remember? You guys were here. I said that I thought there was a strong likelihood that if this was rebuilt in Unreal Engine 5, there's a good chance that the Oblivion remake from Virtuos could end up looking and even running better in terms of no bugs, no weird Bethesda-isms. You could actually see a situation where the remake of a 2006 game, or sorry, a remaster, looks more impressive and runs better than Elder Scrolls 6 does. Because guess what they said Elder Scrolls 6 is using? The Creation Engine 2. They said they're using the same exact toolkit as Starfield. I mean, I think a good amount of this looks better than Starfield graphically. So I think we might be right. Do I think they'll have loading screens? I mean, if they manage to get if they manage to actually get rid of all the loading screens when you're going in and out of buildings as part of this, that would be stunning. I mean, I'm not expecting that because I think it's one of the reasons that BGS builds things the way that they do is because it helps speed things up when you have everything kind of locked away into their own buckets and you're like, oh, you walked into this cave over here. Oh, now that loads you into cave number 14. And then you could have one guy and all he does is he just makes caves. That's all he does. You remember the making of Oblivion documentary? Yeah. Who's laughing now? This one. They have an entire snippet in here of one of the people that all they do is just build out the caves.
Francisco the Disco donated $10 through Super Chat. We gotta change the terms. Remasters equals play and function the same, like Demon Souls. Remake equals change everything but stay faithful like Re4 Remake. Port equals port with improvements.
Yeah, I love Dragon's Dogma 2. I'm glad. Thank you for the 10. And yeah, I do think that the terminology is weird. Like again, I look at this looks like a remake because they have remade Everything, it seems. Like, these are not even the same, okay? No assets used over here remain here. Even the sword, you can see they've had to rebuild the sword because this had to be a certain poly count that was very, very low, and it would look like crap next to everything else. It's really high poly in the rest of the game. The lighting's been overhauled, everything. Just the level of detail in the forest, the grass, I mean, literally no grass, tons of grass, like totally, totally different. Like, I really think if they wanted to call this a remake, I would be like, yeah, sounds about right. But like this, one of the benefits of Bethesda doing things the way that they do is because you can have something like this guy.
That stuff far easier than if they asked me to do anything that was nice and beautiful.
He's going to show how it works.
And creatures.
So literally all he does is dungeon design.
So you get more out of the dungeon because, you know, everybody's been saying the argument. You get more in someone's basement than you do in a quest. Well, I'm one of the world artists, but I specialize in the Oblivion plane art and
what a weird
the lower
intro.
class. The stuff that's really dirty and dingy and sort of nasty, or the stuff that looks very deadly and scary and, you know, somewhat demonic or evil. That seems to be in my comfort zone, in a way, that I can go do that stuff far easier than if they asked me to do anything that was nice and beautiful. This is basically showing an overview of what you'd expect a dungeon level to look like. So they're built on a grid system, so that they have an exact fit and match, and you won't see any seams. You know, it's a lot like a Lego set in the way, except, you know, far more complex and detailed. And then before you know it, you have this world that you created in your own mind that you can sort of experience.
I also love that in this documentary, they don't capture any like desktop footage, but all of the computer monitors were these old, like early 2000s monitors. And so they're really shiny and glossy. So they just film the screen, but focus on his head. And so you get this like ghosted effect where you can see what's on screen and then you just see his face in the reflection. But it was just like their easy way of getting around that, of not being able to do like capture of the monitor, which is cool. But this is why BGS's methodology of having things kind of partitioned off, having the dungeons be totally separate, that you're not loading into totally seamlessly, that allows them to have a guy who just builds dungeons, and then you can just assign dungeons and different like building interiors and stuff to certain doors in the game. And when you interact with that door, it loads you into that other place. So you don't have to worry about how things fit together in the actual 3D space of the world because you're loading into a separate place entirely. So I would not expect them to have everything seamless in this remaster. But I swear to God, if they actually manage to get everything working seamlessly, it will be, I can already, I can see in my mind, in my vision box, I can see the comparison videos where people are showing Oblivion Remaster versus Elder Scrolls 6, and they're showing like different detail levels and how this looks better than something they find in in Elder Scrolls 6. It's gonna happen because I just think it's the difference in the engines. Now, does this mean that this remake is gonna be awesome? I don't know. Sorry, remaster.
Jordan Spinar donated $10 through Super Chat. Hey Luke, do you think studios should do more remakes or remasters to draw in younger audiences to older titles and cash in on nostalgia, or is better to make new IP?
I think it's, you know, we complain about it a lot, but I do think there's a very valid business reason to do it. Remakes, remasters are cheaper than doing a totally new project. And for a lot of companies, they want to have some lower risk way of introducing audiences to an IP before putting 200 million bucks up to pursue it. So for example, like it might honestly have been a good idea for Bungie to do a really nice remaster, or they could hire Virtuos to do it, a really nice remaster remake of the original Marathon games or something. Or in the case of BGS, I think doing a remaster remake of Oblivion is a great way to introduce a new audience to the like universe of the Elder Scrolls before Elder Scrolls 6, because here's what's really going to blow your mind, okay? We all played Skyrim. We all know Skyrim like the back of our hands. It was one of the biggest games of all time. It was iconic. It was everywhere back in 2011. There are people, if we might even have people in chat right now who are 14 years old and weren't, okay, 13 years old, almost 14, but 13 years old, and we're not born when Skyrim launched, okay? The next generation of gamers, a lot of them were not even born. Okay. And even if they were born like 2009, 2008, 2007, they were too young to play Skyrim. Okay. So for us, we're like, everybody knows Elder Scrolls. There's millions upon millions of people out there who are gamers. They will want to buy Elder Scrolls 6 and all their other stuff that have never played one of these games. And they look at Skyrim right now and they go, damn, that looks old. Damn, that's clunky. I don't know. And so they don't bother with it. And this could be a fantastic way of getting them into it for the first time. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think there's a very, very valid reason to do it. And I think it's one of those moments where we have to kind of sit back and be like, okay, it's not just about me. And this is really hard as a YouTuber. It's not just about me. It's about the broader industry as well. And for them, they're looking at a huge swath of gamers out there that have probably never touched it. I mean, even if you are like, what, 18 years old right now? So 2007, you were born? Jesus. No way that's right. Is that right? Oh, God. I feel so old. But even if you're born like 2007, that means you were 4 when Skyrim came out. 4. So even people who are in their early 20s might not have ever played Skyrim because they were toddlers and like kindergartners. Okay. So something like this is actually hugely beneficial to them. It's been that long since the last Elder Scrolls game. Okay. Most game series don't get a game in 15 years or whatever. They're considered dormant. They're considered abandoned. But for BGS, that's just how it is. It's why like the choice to do Starfield was so bold, because it basically represented a delay of all of their future games by like 6 years, basically. It postponed all of that, mixed in with Fallout 76 and everything else they did. But either way, I think this looks really good. Now, some people have been complaining. I think with all of this, I think it looks really good. What's inevitably going to happen, though, is people are going to look back at some of this old footage of Oblivion, and they're going to be like, I don't know, man, it's lost the soul, because they remember playing the game and it looking like this. And so when they see a very cutting edge, remember the reflection thing I was talking about? When they see the cutting edge, like Unreal Engine footage of the game, there's Todd, it's going to be really jarring, I think, because this is how they remember it. They don't remember it looking so nice. And inevitably, like, once you bring something into a more realistic level of fidelity, some of the more artsy decisions are lost. Like, you know, the smooth gradation of the road up and out. That was done because they didn't have the memory to store higher resolution textures in the distance. So things just looked kind of like this, and this is just what you had. But nowadays people look back at that, and if you played this back in the day, it's sort of like a nostalgic thing. This has a very particular vibe, a tone. It's also in the forests. Over here is one of the guys that does work in the forest. This is what he says.
In a game to play in. You think about all the leaves individually, they're probably pretty close to the same color, but you see them all in a scene like this, there's so much contrast and play of light.
In the foreground here is an example of some of our grass that we have in the game. So we've got some ivy in here and some tall grass. Further on, I think there's some sort of generic forest weed types of plants.
And bear in mind, this was considered one of the most like graphically impressive games of 2006. This was considered stunning, you know, and I'll show you a snippet of that. Also, shout out to this laptop. Do you guys remember these laptops? They were like 2 inches thick. They were massive and they were heavy. They were like 10 pounds. These massive ass keyboards. Oh, that's a throwback. My dad had them for work. I always thought they looked so stupid, even back then. I forgot about this. Okay, this is somebody reacting to Oblivion's graphics back in 2006, okay? We've just looked at some of it, okay? Look at this. So just be clear, they had just shown the trailer at E3, and what you're going to hear is people at E3 reacting to the graphics. Regular, everyday people.
This game looks unbelievable. And actually has trees, unlike Bardenfall.
The whole first level of the game is a prison break. And through your actions, it really determines what kind of character you'll be.
I mean, sometimes I worry that games are going to get so realistic looking that I won't want to play in them because they're too real, and then I might as well just be at home. Only this was a pretty good case for hyper-realism.
This was a pretty good case for hyper-realism. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? Like 2006, people are like, yeah, this is hyper-realism.
The forest was gorgeous.
Unbelievable. It's easily the most impressive game that we've seen at E3.
Yeah,
It's like with the radiant AI thing.
Yeah.
That's always one of my big issues with RPGs is the NPC characters are kind of boring. Like they're just there and you talk to them and they're kind of just like this clunky way of getting information. But it's so much more entertaining to watch like somebody flame their dog.
There you have it. So there's going to be people, no matter what, that are going to look at the remake and be like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It looks like crap. There's going to be people like that because they think back to this and they remember this. And so seeing this just doesn't feel right, you know, and I don't blame them for having a nostalgia tied to this. This is a very unique vibe, certainly, but that doesn't mean that this is bad. And here's again, like we said earlier, they are trying to get this franchise reintroduced to a new generation of players who have never played an Elder Scrolls game before. And those players expect this and would not tolerate this. This would make like the nostalgia based players really excited and this would get them back into it. But I don't think like your more casual 20 something who has never played Skyrim or anything, I don't think this would appeal to them. Even if you're like, yeah, we uncapped the resolution and the frame rate, and now we also have the Creation Club store in there. You can buy paid mods now. I don't think that would be compelling, you know? I don't think so. What's with the yellow filter? This is where I've heard the yellow filter brought up. To be fair, what we're looking at, because this one doesn't have the yellow quote unquote filter. This one does have the quote unquote yellow filter. This is called sunlight. And basically what happens is at different times of day, the light will look different. Dislike. Yeah. Immediate.
MJR Payne 97 donated $9.99 through Super Chat. Please talk about the Skyblivion team.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. No, thank you. I have the outside. I want fantasy. Yeah, I'm worried things are too hyper realistic. Yeah, I like whenever you see two screenshots in a game and they look like both graphically impressive in terms of detail and fidelity, but then the color of the light is actually different. It's usually just an indication that they're using an actual like time of day system with the skybox and everything. And don't worry, Mr. J Paint, we'll talk about the Skyblivion thing in just a minute. But yeah, it's in this case, Unreal Engine has tools to support actual time of day systems where as the sun comes up in the morning, the light cascading across the map is going to be of a different hue than when it's directly above. And then when the sun is setting, it's going to have a different hue as it passes through the atmosphere and all of that. This is not, you know, particularly new or anything. It just means that it's technically a higher fidelity version of doing the world lighting as opposed to something like this, which was, of course, quite rudimentary in comparison, but it was very good for 2006. But this is what you need for a 2025 audience to be impressed. So I'm not too worried about that. Yeah, I'm not too worried about that. There's been some other like little snippets and screenshots that people have found as well through part of this. The Gates of Hell, Oblivion. You can see here, just the little dungeons. Oh my God, is that Skyrim? Is that Mr. Skyrim's house? Oblivion, remastered, deluxe edition. Now, there's one more really, really funny piece to all of this, okay? There's one more really freaking funny piece to this. You know how Microsoft has been like really obsessed with AI recently? It's been like their whole thing. They invested billions into OpenAI. They are now like 49% or maybe 50% owner basically of ChatGPT. Like they're a massive investor into AI, and they've built a lot of those tools into their support bots. Okay. So they have different customer support platforms and programs that are meant to help customers who need stuff done. Right. And they're using this to lay off people working in call centers and all of that. But somebody had an idea to hop on to the Xbox Support X page and DM them asking for help. Okay. I'm not sure exactly who did this first. I see people tagging Detective Seeds, Synth Potato, Kev Do It, Horse Armor YouTube. I've seen a Raven tweeted this out, but I'm not sure who exactly did it first. So whoever did it was brilliant. But here's what they said. I was wondering if the Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remaster will be available to play on cloud gaming. What did the AI bot reply with? Thank you for reply, Raven. Yes, the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered will be available for cloud gaming. It is set to be released on Xbox Series X and S and Xbox One. That's kind of surprising. Additionally, it will be accessible through Xbox Game Pass, which supports cloud gaming, allowing you to play it anywhere with a compatible device and internet connection. Ooh, this bot's doing a good job. Hopefully it doesn't say anything it's not supposed to. For more details, please check this link. We hope we were able to answer your question. Okay, that's all great. That's all great. What's the next bit? Earlier I was told Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered would be available for cloud gaming. The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered is set to be released on April 21st, 2025. They still have not released or announced this yet. And their AI bot is allegedly leaking the release date. It's pretty funny. Pretty funny. It's confirmed to be a day one launch title on Xbox Game Pass, which strongly suggests that it will be available for cloud gaming through Xbox Cloud Gaming. Oopsie. Uh-oh. It's so, to be clear, they seem to be using a melding of AI chat bots and real service agents. The real service agents identify them as live agents. They say that they're actual live agents, whereas others, like, they just don't reply with that information. So it seems like they're using a melding of the two systems. Either way, whether it's a real person or it's an AI chatbot or a real person using an AI chatbot, it's really freaking funny that this is not even publicly announced. Technically, this has not been revealed yet. And their own support pages are leaking the release date and all of this. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's nothing short of amazing. As I posted on X, it's hilarious that they tried to keep this secret for so long to do a shadow drop so they could surprise everybody, but then they accidentally leaked it themselves. And then the chat bot confirms the release date. Oopsie. Big oopsie. Now, all of this, I think it's probably going to be impressive. I think it's going to look probably really good. I don't know how it will play. That's the other big question with this, but we're going to find out. Without a doubt, I think the people that probably are most irked by this is the Oblivion team. If you don't know about this, basically, it's a volunteer-based project by the TES Renewal Modding Group. We aim to bring Oblivion to a new generation of gamers and reintroduce it to the longtime fans of the series. We're currently in the process of remaking Cyrodiil along with its quests, locations, and characters into Skyrim Special Edition. They've been working for years to build out Oblivion into the like anniversary edition of Skyrim. And I mean, you can tell they've been doing a good job. But what's interesting is that they are building this out, of course, into the modern creation engine, whereas this other project has been built in Unreal Engine, allegedly. So the new version, the remaster version from Virtuos, will likely not support modding. It will not support any of that stuff because it's Unreal Engine. Whereas this version will, and they're still working on it. So I think they'll still release it. I think there still is a large group of players that will connect with it. But yeah, amazingly enough, they look at all the stuff they've been rebuilding. Just a crazy amount of work. Very, very impressive. They're doing this for free, by the way. It's absolutely tremendous. It's wild. So yeah, we'll find out how they compare. Of course, again, it hasn't been revealed or even announced yet, so we literally don't know exactly what it entails. All we're doing is looking at these pictures and images. But most likely what I think happens is this does reveal or receive a shadow drop. Probably on the 21st, they just say screw it and do it. And I'm guessing it's going to be like $40 with a $60 deluxe edition. It's my guess. It's my guess. Limit Breaks, thank you for the gifted sub to Lady Questus.
The Nomade 5 donated $10 through Super Chat.
Thank you, my friend.
If it does drop on the 21st, that means it drops on the one day in the last 9 years I have to go to the DMV.
Todd's ways are mysterious. They are mysterious, but Todd works in mysterious ways, does he not? Does he not? Is Todd's brilliance lost on you? Are you doubting him? I hope not. I hope not. You know, it's in times of trial and strife that we need to look to Todd and hold on to him closer. Yes. Yes. May Todd be with you and may he shine detail upon you. 16 times, dare I say. The other interesting thing about this is that they do seem to be doing armor sets and cosmetic packs. Okay. Just saying. Just saying. It looks like they're going to probably have an in-game store full of cosmetics and stuff. It's very similar, it appears, to what Ubisoft has done recently, where they have their in-game store and they have different cosmetics and stuff. Oops. Which, I mean, honestly, it's an old game. I'm not going to be too butthurt about it. Like, I could throw a big fit about it. I don't like it, but it's a single player game. If you don't want to play a game with like a really ridiculous cosmetic or totally gold weapons, just don't buy it. You know, that's kind of where I'm at this point. I'd rather it's not there, but I understand that they need to make that cash money to make this viable. And hey, you know what? If it is viable, maybe we get a full remaster remake of something like Morrowind or Redguard or something. I mean, you never know. If this is a hugely profitable thing, we probably do see that. And I think based on how this is received, we probably also find out more about the other project that is being worked on, which is allegedly a Fallout 3 remaster remake that might be coming from the same team. It's not super clear. It might be coming from Bethesda themselves, but we'll see. I think it's probably from Bethesda themselves, but we'll see. New Vegas remake, please. I think that would sell gangbusters, but there's been no leaks or rumors suggesting that that's happening. That's the unfortunate thing. We've known about the Oblivion remake remaster for like 3 years. 3, maybe 4. I think 3 years. So we've known about it for ages, but we've heard nothing about a New Vegas remake, which is unfortunate. Todd hates New Vegas, though. Yeah, there's just something weird. Like, even in the most recent interviews leading up to Starfield, he was saying stuff like, people act like we don't like New Vegas. And, you know, people need to remember that, you know, we published that. That was technically one of our games. And I'm like, well, this sounds like cope, man. This sounds like cope. Just a little. Oh. You know, it's just, okay. Yeah, sure. Yep, you did that. Jack with the 5. Damn, how funny would it be if the voice lines are still the same? I mean, I think they probably are. They did not have very many voice actors in the original. I don't remember where I saw it, but basically, yeah, look at this. Okay. Voice cast for Oblivion. Patrick Stewart. Okay. Sean Bean. When I was little, I remember we watched National Treasure. And he's in it, except I just saw his name. And I had seen Sean spelled S-H-A-W-N. I was like littler at the time, but I never seen it spelled S-E-A-N. So I thought after that point, I just remember thinking it in my head. And so I thought for years his name was Sean Bean. Yeah, Timothy's with me. For years, like years. So it's, now I know it's Sean. But yeah, I've always only ever heard it in my head as Sean Bean. Yeah, he played Martin Septim, level PC 5. A conjurer. Yeah, and Patrick Stewart plays Uriel Septim the 7th in the game for all of 30 seconds or whatever. But yeah, they got him, Terrence Stamp. Wes Johnson, and this is where it gets funny, okay? So they had very limited voice actors for this after blowing the budget on these guys. So Wes Johnson played all the male Imperials, Demora, Malakath, and Sheogorath. Ralph Cosham voiced all of the male Bretons. Catherine Fly played all of the female Imperials, all of the female Bretons. Jonathan Bryce played all of the male Argonians, the male Khajiit, all the male Nords, all the male Orcs, Molag Bal, and Hirkine? I don't remember. Linda Carter? No way. This is funny. Linda Carter, do you know who that is? Linda Carter played Wonder Woman in the 1970s. She also was married to none other than Robert Altman, who was the head of ZeniMax all the way through the sale to Microsoft. Right as they sold to Microsoft, he underwent, I think it was like a gallbladder surgery or something, and he passed away due to complications on the surgery. So he made like billions, and then he died a few months after that. It's absolutely wild, very tragic. But his wife, Linda Carter, voiced all the female Nords and Orcs in Oblivion. Who knew? Wow. I didn't know that. Elizabeth Nolan said, did all the female Argonians, female Khajiit, but like you get the point. They had multiple people who just played like all the male characters for various races and stuff. All the player character voices, all of that. So they did not have a huge voice cast at all. And if they were to just copy that over 1-to-1, that might be tough. I do think they will keep the dialogue from like, some of the big names, like, Martin.
I do what I must do. I cannot stay to rebuild Tamriel. That task falls to others. Farewell. You've been a good friend in the short time that I've known you, but now I must go. The dragon waits. I do wonder if they can clean it up a little bit, because it's definitely been really compressed. But they probably have access to the original uncompressed stuff, assuming they backed it up and kept it. But yeah, that would be very interesting. That'd be very interesting if they added like more dialogue and all that. I don't know. Which will look graphically better? Oblivion Remastered or Elder Scrolls 6. Okay? This is what we're going to do. You have to pick one. Okay? I'm going to post these in the chats so everybody, Twitch and YouTube alike, can vote. 65%. Okay. I mean, honestly, I'm surprised the number's that high. I'm surprised. Just being honest. Maybe, they blow us away. Maybe they've made a ton of progress and it surprised me, but I'd be surprised if Elder Scrolls 6 outperforms it graphically. Now, it might be a better game. It might have cooler features or whatever, but yeah, we'll see. Anyway, so having said all that, the Oblivion Remaster looks good, I think. I'm excited to jump back into it, but we should find out in like 5 days. Sure, I think we will.